Hello and welcome to my review of the BMW S1000R. It's a sport version. It costs a little bit extra. It's a 2014 model in this sort of midnight blue paint scheme, and I think you can't get it in this colour anymore. So the colours at the moment are grey, black and red, and the typical sort of blue, white and red motorsport colours. So what I'll do is I'll just read off all the specifications and things for the 2014 model, and then towards the end of the video I'll actually then explain all the specifications of the 2017 model. There are some differences, and they are an improvement over an already amazing bike. So one of these will set you back £10,200, and the sport version is an extra £1,400, so it's about £11,500. It's essentially like a naked HP4 with the semi-active electronic suspension and additional 2 riding modes and full traction control, so it's definitely worth going for the sport version for that extra money. Its max power is 160 brake horsepower, its torque is 113 feet per pound, and its top speed is 117 miles per hour. Its average fuel consumption is 34 miles per gallon, and its tank range is 130 miles. The engine size is 999cc, 16 valve inline 4. Its frame type is a twin spar aluminium frame and double-sided swing arm. The fuel capacity is 17.5 litres. Its seat height is 814 millimeters. It weighs 207 kilograms. Its front suspension is 48 millimeter fully adjustable Sachs forks DDC on sport model, and the rear suspension is a single rear fully adjustable Sachs shock DCC on sport model. The front brake has got 2 320mm discs with Brembo 4-piston radial calipers with racing ABS, and the rear brake is a 220mm single disc single piston caliper racing ABS. That's also Brembo, I must point out. Their front tyre size is 120 by 70 times 17, and their rear tyre size is a whopping 190 by 55 times 17. So that's the specifications out of the way. I'll just sort of give you my take, and then I'll say what I see in terms of the video. So it's basically a hyper naked version of the S1000R. That bike at the time of the 2014 had 193 brake horsepower. So this one has 160, so it reduced it by 33. It handles very much like the double R, but obviously you don't have to hit that sort of power band. It's got the 160 brake horsepower at 11,000 instead of the 193 at 13,000 RPM. The peak torque is actually the same, but it's made at 500 RPMs lower. So 0 to 60, probably even 0 to 100, it'd be a tiny bit quicker. But then after that, obviously the fairings and things for the S1000R take over. So unless you're a real sort of track head, which you can use this on track, absolutely fine. Unless you're a real track head and you're going to make use of the S1000R's top speed, then that would be the one to go for. But if you want to go on tours on this thing, if you like a bike that's more upright, that's more comfortable, the frame doesn't get as hot, well, it's certainly not hot on your legs, and all those other extra things, then this is a better option. Reliability wise, the S1000Rs and the HP4s are reliable, and this one is too. The only issue I've had with mine has been the cruise control, but BMW looked at that and fixed it all, and that was absolutely fine. But other than that, Everything's worked, it's always started, never had any issues. Mine has now done about 4,500 miles, which is incredible. Took it to Wales and back. I want to take it around Europe too. At the time, it's cheaper than its rivals, which was the Tuono V4R ABS, I think, and the Brutal 1090RR and the 1290 Super Duke R. Only the Speed Triple was cheaper at the time. Now, equipment wise, it comes with 2 electronic rider aids, stability control, racing ABS, fully adjustable suspension, sport tyres, which are the Diablo Rosso tyres, which are fantastic, Brembo brakes front and rear, the multifunction LCD dash, which is great, and it's just a brilliant dash, incorporating the tachometer with the the LCD numbers. And then if you get the sport mode like this one, then it comes with 2 more riding modes, full traction control, cruise control, heated grips, belly pan, all the LED indicators, and the DCC suspension. You can also get a load of accessories and things, such as all the carbon fibre parts you see on mine. So now what I'm going to do is, this is part of the video where I sort of say what I see. So there you go, there's the BMW S1000R. You can see at the bottom, there's the bottom left, there's the Akrapovic. What I'm going to do for size wise is just walk over to the bike and sit on it. So there's my stunt double. Well, it's me, obviously. And I'm about 6 foot or so, and very easy, comfortable riding position. Can easily put my feet flat on the floor. I must say that there's a comfort seat as well, which is extra. But yeah, it's a really quite easy bike to handle, maneuver. It weighs a little bit, it's the 210 kilograms. But even at low speed, it's quite manageable. It's weighted really well. So I'll just jump off the bike there. And now we'll go for a little tour of the bike. So as you can see, you've got the tank carbon fibre and the side panelling carbon fibre there extra. And if you look below, there's a carbon fibre sort of mud guard and the Akrapovic. I definitely want to get the full system titanium. It's about £1,500, but that's the next thing on the list. And you can see that square bit above the bars, which is the sat nav. I'll talk about that later. And this is the view from the front. It's got both the 2 lights there. One's the running light, and then we put the main beam on. It takes use of the other light. There you've got a carbon fibre front wheel guard, and I haven't got a radiator grille guard or oil cooler grille guard yet, but I'll probably get one at a later date. And here is the BMW's own sort of front windshield. This is an optional extra, but I strongly recommend it, because without the fairing you do get buffeted about a bit, and this really does take the edge off, especially if you go in sort of high speed motorways, things like that. It makes a huge difference. So this is the front of the bike. You've got all your control panels and things. On the right hand side where my finger just was, you've got your mode button. Bit tricky to set that while you've got your hand on the throttle, but that's where you sort of select it from rain, road, and dynamic. You can take the traction control off, but you need to sort of switch the bike off and do that. Where I just pointed then was the heated grips, which I'm touching on. They got 2 settings, 1 and 2, but they're not that hot, I don't think, even with sort of thinnish gloves. They're certainly not as hot as, say, Honda's heated grips. I'm just touching the kill switch there, and on the left hand side you've got your ABS, your suspension, your trip info, and just your normal info, and that's your cruise control hub there, and your hazards. So you flip it to the side, and you hold on to your throttle, and then you select your cruise control. I just selected the indicators. It's got individual lights for left and right indicators, front and back, and then below that you've got your horn. You can just about make out the levers. They're Gillies or Gills levers. They're custom. You've got your brightness settings for your sat nav there. You just click a button and you just remove the, say, blanking plate for that. Now we're keeping at the front here. This is the display that greets you. You've got the tachometer, the big white dial, with your RPMs that go up to the 13,000. Lovely dash. The LCD is on the right, and what I'll do is I'll just turn the bike on now, and you'll see you get lots of different things just come up. The tachometer sort of goes all the way up and then back down. It flashes ABS and traction control, obviously, until you get going. But it's a really nice dash. On the top right, there's that sort of white LED. That's your blipper. Flashes when it's a good time to change gear. And you've got your modes on the left hand side, the gear indicator, fuel gauge, your temperature, your odometer. While we're at the front, we might as well just look at this front panel too. You can see that my mileage is 3,500, but I've done over 4,500 now. But anyway, this black panel, it's up to you if you want to go touring things on it. This is completely optional. You can go for BMW's sat nav. It's very decent sat nav. It just clips onto there. I say very easily. Clips onto there and loads up. You get this lovely little sound, and then you can just select where you want to go and go on your journey. Speaking of which, let's turn it on. Got a lovely sort of throaty sound to it. It pops and crackles as you're sort of decelerating. What I'm going to do is just move to the back of the bike. This is the sound from the back. I mean, it's only picking it up off my video camera, but and that links us conveniently to the sort of back, the rear of the bike. You can see there's a little Brembo sign on the brake on the left. That's the Akrapovic exhaust. It's not the stock HP4 Akrapovic that you'd normally get. It's an additional one. It's a shorter one which emphasises the pops and crackles a bit better, and you can remove the cat and get the full system, either stainless steel or titanium, but titanium will cost you about £1,500. That's the plan. I probably going to stick with this exhaust, but we'll see, and when that happens I'll obviously show you the video of it and the sound. Now the rear, the red light isn't normally flashing like that. That's just the effect that you get on the camera. The sort of fang of the brake light is incredible, and the stock LED lights that you get on the sport model are so bright and well made, and there's no real reason for you to replace them. You can get a tail tidy, and I probably would recommend you get that. But as it stands, I think it's got quite a nice looking rear. And then we'll have a look at the boot, the luggage space. Hold on to your hats because it's huge. It's such a huge cavernous space in here to put, a weekend bag or something like that. No, I'm joking. You've barely got enough room to even put a Blu-ray, but you've got the alarm system in there and things. You could put your tools maybe, but you haven't really got any room at all. It's not well sort of cut out for you to place anything in there, but you've got access to that anyway. And the seat itself isn't the biggest seat for a pillion, I have to say that too. It's quite small. Before I talk about all my extras and options and things like that, it's worth mentioning that this is what the quick shifter looks like. On the 2014 model, you can clutchless upshift, it's fine. But on the 2017 model, it has the option of a clutchless downshift. So if you're doing track days and things, that is the version to get, because that will definitely come in handy. So before I sort of summarize, I'll just talk about my options and extras and things like that. So you can see a couple of the carbon fiber parts there. Got the top tank carbon fiber part and the side curtain sort of carbon fiber parts. We've also got the levers, which you'll see in a moment, the Gillies levers, the comfort seat, the carbon fiber front guard, the carbon fiber rear guard. It's a sport package as well, so you get the extra cruise control and the different driving modes. That's a completely different exhaust too, and the front screen, which is very handy. So it's got a lot of extras and things. The only thing I'll probably get is maybe a tail tidy, front air cover, and the full titanium exhaust. So what I'll do is I'll just talk to you about the differences between the 2014 up to sort of 2016 model and the new 2017 model of this year. And if you're on the fence, definitely go for the 2017 model. I mean, obviously depends what your budget is, but the 2017 model is really the one to go for, because it has been upgraded and improved. So the engine has been retuned, so now it gains an extra 5 horsepower, so it's 165, and the intake's been revised, so you get better airflow and more intake noise. It gets a vibration-free handlebar. I'm not sure about that because there's hardly any vibration in my one, and it gets a new titanium exhaust silencer, so you get the sort of HP4 sort of Akrapovic exhaust. Then the technology on the bike is improved. It's now called ABS Pro, and as I mentioned before, it's got a quick shifter, so you can shift up and down with that now. Apparently the instrument panel is a bit better, and it displays ambient temperature. And the fairing's been slightly adapted to show more of the engine near the radiator. But I like the fairing that sort of covers that. I mean, it's getting to a point where it's more and more naked, if that makes sense. And then also it's got a lighter frame, so it reduces the weight by about 6 pounds, which is about 3 kilograms. So in summary, the new model is a little bit lighter, it's got more horsepower, it's got the better quick shifter, and it looks slightly different, as you can see in those pictures. Now, I configured mine on the BMW Motorrad website with all the options except for the forged wheels, and it came to £13,195. So quite pricey. And then obviously if you want to add sort of carbon fibre parts, which are, can be £400, £500 each, or something like that. And then if you wanted to add the full system, like the pipes, which are about £1,500, you could spend £16,000-17,000 on one if you so wished. If you wanted to sort of upgrade it, you could upgrade the steering dampener to an Owens dampener for a few £100. You could upgrade the seat. You could upgrade the mirrors for a couple £100 each. You could upgrade the indicators if you really wanted, but you wouldn't need to upgrade the brakes. Those Brembo brakes are great. You could upgrade the exhaust by putting a full system on and things like that. So yeah, you could spend an awful lot if you wanted. So in summary, this is an absolutely incredible bike. It looks the business. It's got a lot of power and torque down low. It's an upright position. You can go touring on it. It's got the cruise control, the clutchless upshift, the Brembo brakes, the adjustable suspension. There's so many incredible things this bike has got going for it. And if this was the closest to like an all-round bike you could possibly get, this would be it. I absolutely love mine to bits. Thank you ever so much for joining me today for the review. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.